What's up traders, welcome to Failure to Displace, and in this video we're going to take a look at the London session where I executed a slightly different trade. I actually entered on pound USD today instead of euro USD because I was watching the pair of them and I thought the pound looked stronger. So let's just break down the charts and see what we've got. We are using our liquidity tracker and we can see that we have taken New York PM session low in Asia, putting a new low. And then what happened here is I could see that we did sweep on the pound, so there's actually a better short entry here. We did sweep Asia high right here at 240. We broke structure and we left a fair value gap. So if you were trading the pound on its own, this was actually the trade. At 240, we didn't get a chance to take the high on the euro. So I was seeing that the euro was significantly weaker and dropping away. Now, because I was eyeing up just trading the euro, obviously I didn't take a short on the pound. But what I did see was I saw the euro tank and then start consolidating down here. The pound took the Asia low, leaving relative equal highs for Asia. We got the perfect OTE entry here. We had a break of structure, leaving this fair value gap here. Price pulled back to the 618 where I took my entry at the 618. I closed out in full as we took the high, so it was a 1.7, and this high also had the confluence of being exactly 50% where I closed out of this fair value gap that had been respected earlier. This is slightly different to the trading plan that I've released previously, something that I'm just looking at. The pound and the euro are very, very tightly correlated. Therefore, setups should work on both pairs, and you can choose then which is going to be the best pair to trade as you're monitoring them. Now, I did get this wrong. I was actually bearish on the day because, just flip to euro on the 15. We have these really, really nice relative equal lows here. Let's stick it on the hour. We put a low in here and a low in here, so we've got relative equal lows. Price has obviously been very bearish, so I was bearish on the day thinking that these equal lows were going to get run. What threw me was the fact that we never actually took the Asia high, so that kind of put me off guard from taking a short. Now, if I'd have been thinking about this more logically, the short trade was perfect because we broke structure on the pound after just taking the Asia high by a pip. This was our break of structure here, which means the optimal trade entry, we had a nice fair value gap that had been respected once. Optimal trade entry at the bottom of the fair value gap. We could have had a short that we could have run easily for our 3R. You can see that price just absolutely melted later on in the session. So first of all, I'm glad I was aggressive with my take profit because it would have ended up being in a loss if I'd have just let that run. However, moving forward, if I'm comparing pound and euro, if pound gives me the setup, I'll just take the pound short and ignore euro. If euro gives me the setup, I'll ignore the pound. If they both give me the setup, then I'll just choose the one that's better. For example, if euro gave me the setup for a long and pound gave me the setup for a long here, I would have taken the long on the pound because it was already closing back into the Asia range. Whereas any setup from the euro, we were outside the Asia range, so we weren't displacing back inside the previous session's range. We were already underneath it. So a long position was certainly more worthwhile for the pound. However, going back to the trading plan, the pound gave us the textbook optimal trade entry short position, and I did have a slightly bearish bias knowing that we had relative equal lows below us. So that is the trade for this morning. You can see that there is an entry. In fact, I will show you no entry on the pound in this afternoon's session. Price has melted. We've not had a break of structure with a fair value gap. But we did have an entry on the euro here, where the stop loss is massive. So you've got a 15 pip stop. So your 4R trade, you're looking at 44 pips to try and hit the 3R, sorry. And I've also still got this bearish bias thinking that we're very close to this liquidity here. So we had the news drop at 10. The price has pumped back into the optimal trade entry. What I did at this point is I went to the 1 minute. As I mentioned in my tutorial, I wouldn't take this just on this 5 minute. I went to the 1 minute to see if we got any kind of reaction at optimal trade entry. On the 1 minute, you can see that price came down. These two grey lines are at optimal trade entry. Let's go full screen on this. So price pulled back down to optimal trade entry. One low, two lows, break of structure here. So this is our break of structure on the 1 minute. So I then reverted to the 2022 mentorship model with an entry in this fair value gap. So we've got a fair value gap just in here. So we broke structure, we pulled back, entry at the top of that fair value gap just in there. Stop loss is just below this swing low because I'm still basing the trade on the 5 minute optimal trade entry. I was just using a break of structure confirmation on the 1 minute time frame. So I took this for a long. I closed out 50% of the trade at the optimal trade entry of this drop from the high to the low. So this is the drop here. Took out 50% of the trade as we hit optimal trade entry to make myself risk free. I've left the stop loss where it is, so this now can run. But I am essentially risk free in this trade as it's playing out now. I wanted to be aggressive on my take profit, not just try and go for the 3R as mentioned in the tutorial that I released on this strategy, because I do know that there is relative equal lows below us. We've obviously been very bearish for the day. London wasn't able to take out Asia high. So far, New York hasn't taken out London high, so we're just making lower sessions, driving down. So this is a big counter trend trade, and I have got a clear level of liquidity below us. So that's why I was aggressive with the take profit now. I can just leave this run. If it decides to take off, fantastic. Otherwise, we could expect it to take out these relative equal lows below us, which it looks like price is driving down to at the moment. So yeah, a couple of different things going on there. I'm not sure how clear that explanation was, but that was the trade from this morning. Comparing the pound to the euro. I did take a long on the pound because it was consolidating back inside the Asia range. So I was thinking we could get a pump up to take out these relative equal highs, which never happened. Price melted. Moving forward, I think I will compare the two again every session. If pound gives me the setup, I will trade it properly, which would have been a short in this instance. And I will not be looking to counter trend the actual setups. So I hope you found that useful. A few different bits of analysis there. And if you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments section below. I think there might be a few questions on this video because I'm not 100% sure I explained that correctly. And if you're enjoying the content, then please consider hitting the subscribe button. I am dropping market reviews, analysis, and tutorials pretty much every single day. Thanks very much. I'll see you in the next video.